This is English shorthand dictation number 175 and the dictation speed is 160 words per minute. Ready? Start. Sir, I am very glad to find that the amendment which I have moved has found support from many honorable members of the House who have spoken on the first reading of the bill. I do not think the honorable leader of the opposition opposed my amendment, although he had a great deal to say with regard to the bill itself. The opposition of my friend was not fundamental but was tactical. In view of this, it is not necessary for me really to make any lengthy reply to the comments that have been made, but there are only two matters to which I would like to refer. This is admittedly an emergency measure, and as an emergency measure, it does involve a considerable amount of restraint upon the liberty of the individual. My amendment is an emergency amendment, and as I have admitted in my speech, it does involve a restraint on the part of the individual. I would like to submit in connection with this that if those gentlemen who have spoken in regard to my amendment, enlarging and emphasizing the fact that it does involve restriction, I would respectfully invite their attention to refer to the Defence of the Realm Act that was passed in the time of war in England and to the Defence of India Act that was passed in India. Both of them were emergency measures, and if any one of those gentlemen were to refer to the provisions of the Act, I am sure they will find that this amendment is a very mild amendment. And let it be remembered further that this emergency legislation, for instance the Defence of the Realm Act and the Defence of India Act, lasted for over 4 years. The Defence of the Realm Act in England was passed in 1914 and was not repealed till 1919, and the powers given to the police officers were certainly much vaster than the powers that are given under this amendment. Therefore, having regard to the emergency, I submit that the powers that are given to the police commissioner cannot be said to be unduly wide. Now, with regard to the other matters, namely that this is a permanent measure, I would like to draw the attention of the House to the provisions contained in Section 102 of the Government of India Act, and which are very pertinent and very relevant on this occasion. Sir, Section 102 of the Government of India Act is exactly what this amendment proposes to do. Thereto, the Governor General has been given the power in his own discretion to issue a proclamation of emergency, and during the period of that proclamation, the Governor General is entitled to pass whatever law by means of ordinances that may be necessary for the maintenance of peace and order. Therefore, my submission to the House is that we are really not doing anything that is unusual, having regard to the Defence of the Realm Act and the Defence of India Act, and having regard to the provisions contained in Section 102. There was one comment which my honorable friend made, that although my desire was to confine these emergency powers to communal conflicts and communal riots, the language used in this amendment is not such as would confine the operation of this amendment to communal riots. His argument was that the word community does not necessarily mean religious community, and that it is used as commercial community, industrial community, and labor community. And secondly, the government will use its powers for the purpose of invoking this legislation even in labor disputes. Now, my first submission on that point is that this part of the proclamation is certainly not going to be the subject of bearing the interpretation, because it is a matter to be determined by the government in its own discretion. It is not going to any court, and the emergency proclamation is not going to be a question in a court of law as to whether it has been properly invoked or not. All that the court will be concerned in finding is whether a proclamation has been issued. Whether the proclamation has been properly issued or not would be a matter for the government, and this government would be amenable to this House if the government uses its power to make a proclamation for purposes which are not intended either by the government or myself or any members of the opposition. The other thing that I would like to submit is that I admit that the word community is used popularly in a wide sense, but before I came here I did refer to the Oxford Dictionary in order to satisfy myself, because I am anxious that this measure should not be extended to labor disputes. So far as I am able to understand the word, and so far as any help can be derived from a standard dictionary, I have no doubt in my mind that the word community etymologically and basically is used only in the sense of religious community. The derivation seems to be those who are in communion. Communion is a religious word. A person ceases to be in communion when he is excommunicated by a religious authority. He ceases to be inside the community. That is the origin of the word. I am perfectly satisfied that this is not a word which can be so used as to bring in labor or strike or another situation. If my honorable friend thinks that this is not enough and that another word is necessary, I am perfectly prepared to help him in that matter. Sir, before I say what I have to say in support of the amendment which I have moved, it is perhaps necessary for me to make two preliminary observations. The first observation that I would like to make is this. The reason why I support the bill brought forward by my honorable friend seeking to amend Section 27 of the Act is this. Much has been said in the course of the debates yesterday that the amendment gave more powers to the Commissioner of Police than the original Section 27 did. Now, having applied the bill as a whole, I have not the slightest doubt in my mind that the amended Section 27 will be of a much milder character than the Section 27 as it stands today. Therefore, I agreed to the suspension of the orders and to help the Honorable Home Minister in getting this legislation passed through. The second observation I should like to make is this. At the parties' conference where we had a discussion with regard to this amendment, I did say that I would support the measure which was agreed to at the time when we discussed the various proposals. My honorable friend, the Home Minister, might say that having taken that view at the time of the conference, it was not open to me to come forward with an amendment now. It is that which I would like to explain. Sir, when I agreed with the Honorable Home Minister to support him, the amendment was confined to the principle underlying the bill. If I understand it correctly, the principle underlying the bill is this. There are certain persons in the city of Bombay who are committing crimes and whose character is such that by reason of the terror they strike against their victims. The victims themselves do not come forward to give evidence in a court of law. Therefore, a regular trial could not be had. That is the principle of this bill. I stick to that principle. I am not deviating from that principle. All that I am seeking to do is to confine the category of persons against whom action can be taken by the Commissioner of Police without resorting to a regular trial by reason of the fact that the informants are not prepared to come before a court of law. Therefore, my view is that my amendment is an amendment of detail and not an amendment of principle. What I have sought to do is nothing new. I have taken the wording from Section 110 of the Criminal Procedure Code. Section 110 of the Criminal Procedure Code gives power to the police to prosecute a man before a presidency magistrate or district magistrate if he is by habit a robber. It might be argued that under Section 110 of the Criminal Procedure Code, even if a person is by habit a robber and even if a person is a desperate and dangerous character, action cannot be taken against him without a trial. Why do you want to take action against him? Because he is in the city of Bombay? That kind of argument may be used. My justification for that is that we are dealing with cases where persons are not prepared to come before a court of law to give evidence, and that is the reason why I have consented to give the Commissioner of Police the power of an extrajudicial and extra legal kind. In giving such powers, it is necessary to restrict and define the category of persons against whom action can be taken. My submission is that the House will do well in defining the class by saying that the person must be doing unlawful acts by habit and not by accident. With these words, I commend my amendment to the House.